Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. For today's video, we are going to go through one free agent every NBA team should already be thinking about. Because as we know, man, the NBA season might be over as we know it. And when it comes to this upcoming NBA offseason, it's actually a pretty weak one. I know the draft isn't really the deepest. The free agency, just in general, is pretty weak after having an extremely strong one, last offseason. And then 2021 is supposed to be absolutely insane. So, honestly speaking, it was a good time for all this to happen, just because, NBA teams, they very well might not get to see, like, the end result of their current NBA roster. So, I mean, obviously, after playing so many games, the strengths and weaknesses of your team. So, by having weaker free agent class, some of those guys can simply be plug-in players into NBA rosters and kind of help fix up some of those weaknesses. And then, obviously, it will make for an even better NBA season next year, right, man? So, let me know in the comment section below, who is one realistic free agent you want your team to go for this NBA offseason? As a Pistons fan, I just hope we don't really have a repeat of 2009. That was the year that we signed Ben Gordon and Charlie Villanueva, obviously blowing a hole in our pocket with our cap space. And then the following season was the big-time free agent class, and the Pistons got nobody because they overpaid for those other guys. So hopefully it's not overpaid for weak guys, miss out on somebody in 2021, although we probably won't get nobody anyway, because who wants to come play for the Pistons, right? Kind of the fact of the matter. But yeah, so that's just my mindset going into it. Just don't do anything. So the first team we have is the Atlanta Hawks, and we have Brandon Ingram, who obviously is restricted by the Pelicans. Very good chance he gets matched any offer anyway. And that's the thing, is like a lot of the guys that are free agents this year, they are restricted guys out there, right, man? So, but yeah, we are going to assume that, for each of these, that a certain guy is not restricted, just so we can talk about it a little bit. As far as Brandon Ingram, the Atlanta Hawks, it would be an absolute pristine fit. I do think that is the next big time move the Hawks need to do, is they need a guy besides Trae Young that they can just give the basketball to and say, hey, go get us a bucket out there, right? I was thinking John Collins could have been that guy, but now the more I see it, I see him really more as like a third, maybe even a fourth option on a championship team. I'll probably say a third option, though, when all things are settled, if Trae Young really continues to develop too. But they really need that second option guy. I'm just not seeing it yet. Kevin Huerter's not that person. DeAndre Hunter is a good jack of all trades type of player, but not going to be like a number 2 option on a championship team. So, yeah, getting a guy like Brandon Ingram would be absolutely phenomenal. And yeah, it would just be a really good fit. Next up, we have Gordon Hayward accepting his player option to go back to the Boston Celtics. I agree with this 1,000,000,000%. Gordon Hayward is finally returning to form after having that serious injury, a few years ago or so. But now, the thing is, though, is that player option, it's about it says right there, $34 million. So by just bringing him back, it's like, I don't think the Celtics, by letting him go, are going to get anybody that's better than Gordon Hayward this offseason. So by bringing him back, it's like, okay, you run it back with the team. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, both those guys are a year older. Gordon Hayward is even another year more healthy. And then it's like, if things don't work out, they don't get to the NBA championship, or, their expectations are not met, then all of a sudden you have a $34 million contract expired off the books going into a loaded NBA free agency. So, yeah, definitely the move that needs to be made right here. Next up, we got the Brooklyn Nets with Joe Harris. Just getting him back. I know his numbers are definitely down this season, but he's just one of those guys that honestly is probably going to get quite a bit of a payday. These three-point shooters these days, they are heavily sought out. A lot of them in the NBA, but guys that can do it like Joe Harris, it's definitely few and far between when it comes to consistently shooting the lights out like Joe Harris can do. But, yeah, bringing him back to the Brooklyn Nets, though, it's like he will just fit in nicely to space the floor for Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. So, yeah, I like Joe Harris a lot. I don't see why they would get rid of him for any reason. Next up, we got Charlotte Hornets with Brandon Ingram again. So, yeah, the Hornets just really need a go-to scorer. Devontae Graham, Terry Rozier, both those are nice pieces to a team. They just should not be the main pieces. The issue with Brandon Ingram, though, is that if you do get a small forward like him, I mean, it's not really an issue with him, but, all of a sudden, you're probably looking at giving up on Miles Bridges, which obviously you would do if that means getting Brandon Ingram, but just something to think about right there. I still think Miles Bridges has, some potential that he needs to meet. I think he definitely will do it eventually, but, yeah, this would kind of end that saga, or maybe would throw him on the bench, and that would just be horrible for his player development. Next, we got Anthony Davis to Chicago Bulls. I'm going to say this straight up, guys. I know the management and coaching situation of the Bulls is not exactly ideal. But for such like, because like when I think of like Chicago, I think of them as like one of like the major cities of the United States, like the Los Angeles, the New York, just one of those big market teams. And for whatever reason, they don't really sign a lot of big name free agents. I mean, obviously they got Dwayne Wade a few years ago, but that was outside of his prime. That was him kind of feeling like a childhood dream of wanting to play for Chicago Bulls. So yeah, the Bulls, they just need to get one of those tier 1 free agents. And Anthony Davis, who is from the area, I believe he is, right? Yeah. Would be absolutely like a phenomenal addition to the team, because all of a sudden, that means trading away either Wendell or Lauri Markkanen. Could probably get some good trade value from one of those guys, but you have your building block. And of course, you got Zach LaVine on the team, who would be an absolutely amazing second option. The Bulls are so close. They just need that one guy. They are literally like, in my opinion, like last year's Clippers, where it's like, damn, that's a good team. They just need like a Kawhi Leonard or a Paul George, or in this case, they got both, and they're good to go. Next, we got the Cleveland Cavaliers with Andre Drummond on the player option. This one is difficult, man. I mean, obviously, after watching Andre Drummond for many, many years, I know what he brings you. And for the Cleveland Cavaliers, I think it's a good idea to have him accept that player option, because then all of a sudden it's like they get to try out Andre Drummond for an entire season with the team and then kind of reevaluate after that. I would not sign him to an extension or anything like that, just because I don't think Drummond gets you to where you want to be, man. Like, plain and simple, those type of centers it's just not in anymore. I mean, the dude would average like 20 games on the Pistons, and it got us to the 8th seed. I would just hate, to see the Cleveland Cavaliers fall into that whole mesh of, being that next Piston team where it's like, hey, you guys are now the 8th seed, you're the 9th seed, you're fighting for that every single year, you're good, but you're not good enough. And I think that's kind of what Drummond brings you. And now if you can get him on like a $15 million a year contract, that's an absolute steal, but I definitely would not treat him like a tier 1 player in the NBA anymore. Next, we got for the Dallas Mavericks, Bogdan Bogdanovic. Yep, you get a really good, consistent scorer with him on the team. Another guy that probably gets matched by the Sacramento Kings, unless you want to go out and overpay for him, which might actually be a bit plausible, because guys like Luka Doncic, they are a few years away from getting like their major time contract, right? But yeah, it just gets you a solidified second, third option on this team with Luka and Kristaps Porzingis. It's a nice fit. Next up, we got Jeremy Grant of the Denver Nuggets. Yeah, Jeremy needs to be back on that team. Paul Millsap's obviously getting older. I think Jeremy Grant is the perfect power forward in today's NBA. I've always been a huge fan of his, really since he started balling out like the OKC Thunder and stuff. So, yeah, I think he is an essential piece to keep really on this Denver Nuggets team for the long term. Next, we got Fred VanVleet for the Detroit Pistons. I want this guy so bad. Do I think he's unrestricted, but the thing about this is that, Fred VanVleet, it is going to require an overpay. I mean, really, for the Pistons to get any sort of free agent, it's going to do that, because it's like, the Toronto Raptors realize that Kyle Lowry, he doesn't got too much time left. So by Kyle Lowry, eventually going to a new team or retiring, whatever he does, it's like they have that next guy up with Fred VanVleet. But the Detroit Pistons, they would be getting a winner at the point guard position. They would be getting a leader at the point guard position. Something they need so bad out there, man. I mean, the guy's won a championship already. He's just a great player. I would absolutely love to get him on the Pistons, guys. Exactly what I think we need right now, but whether it happens or not, we'll kind of see. Next, we got the Golden State Warriors, Justin Holiday. Yeah, I guess just to add some more depth to their team. A veteran. Sure, okay, it's Justin Holiday. Houston Rockets, we got to Marvin Williams. Yeah, he's one of those wing players that just shoot the lights out. He would instantly fit into D'Antoni's offense. And, yeah, that's about what you get from him. He's a bit of an older player, so I don't know how much more he quite has left. But I guess just a plug and play, right? Next, we got Marcus Morris for the Indiana Pacers. I actually don't really like this fit right here. The reason I say that is because it is kind of clear that the Pacers are going with the whole route of Sabonis and Miles Turner for their front court, but they have one guy on their team already that I think is actually extremely similar to Marcus Morris, and that is TJ Warren. So, assuming they want to start TJ Warren at the 3, then does Marcus Morris come off the bench, or is Marcus Morris starting and TJ Warren come off the bench? I don't think that should really be the case for either one of these guys. Given they're both really talented players, it's just too much similarities. Now, if you want to perhaps trade Sabonis or Miles Turner, which I don't really see them doing, then yeah, I guess having a front court of, just for an example, Sabonis, Marcus, and TJ Warren would be very offensive heavy, which is kind of nice. But yeah, that's only given that circumstance, right? Next up, we got Los Angeles Clippers with getting Montrezl Harrell back unrestricted. Yes, this guy is in for a big payday. He's literally like the Lou Williams of big guys. I mean, Montrezl Harrell's going to be Sixth Man of the Year, in my opinion, right? It's just, if you pay this guy the money that I think he's going to end up getting, I think the Clippers need to, like, start him eventually. Like, long-term. Like he needs to be the full-on, always going to be the starter. I realize his value off the bench, but I just need to see, like, a full season of Montrezl Harrell getting a start at the center spot. It worked back in the day with him coming off the bench. It's still working to this day. But, you know, I just think if you pay the man, I don't want to pay him starter money to be a sixth man. Or maybe that's where his value's at, and that's just, you know, what do I know, man? Maybe it's just, he's okay with that. Maybe the coach is cool with that, and that's just what's good for chemistry. Next, we got Anthony Davis for Los Angeles Lakers. There is no team that is going to, in my mind, really benefit from the season being probably canceled than I think the Los Angeles Lakers. The reason I say that is that I know a lot of people were saying, you know, AD's staying with the Lakers, man. There's no way he leaves the Lakers. I still think there was a chance that he could have went somewhere else after this season, assuming the Lakers would have won a championship. But now it's going to be like, you know, you're going to get Anthony Davis for a whole nother year no matter what, because he's not going to leave with unfinished business. And his player option, I do think he probably does decline it. He just signed a long-term contract with the Lakers. It just seems like the way to go. Now, at the same time, there is the risk that he just accepts the player options and just leaves it at that, which kind of opens up a whole new door of, you know, just like it will be speculation all season. Like, why did AD just sign the player option and why didn't he sign a long-term contract with the Lakers? You know, so I guess you got some risk of that. But no, I think with the unfinished business, I think he does end up signing long-term. And yeah, that's just how it is. So as opposed to maybe they won a championship this season, he would decline his player option, test his free agency, and who knows what could have happened with that. Next, we got DeAnthony Melton, who is a restricted free agent with the Memphis Grizzlies. I don't know much about his game. I guess just like first and foremost, he's a backup point guard, I believe, for the Memphis Grizzlies. Just a really good, consistent backup guy that brings you some good energy off the bench. You know, some good defense, things along those lines. Thing I love about the Memphis Grizzlies is that this is not a team built off free agency. This is a team built off of just drafting correctly, developing players, and it seems like DeAnthony Melton can be a long-term fit for their backup point guard on that team. Next, we got the Miami Heat with Danilo Gallinari. I think it was actually a pretty good, well, obviously now it was a good idea with the season probably being canceled, of the Miami Heat not trading for Gallinari at the trade deadline, because they would have had to get up some sort of young asset to do so, and I know they really didn't want to do that. So by him being an unrestricted free agent, I think the Miami Heat can get him on a really good deal. I could see him signing for maybe around $13 million a season, instantly be the starting four on that team. You know, with Bam's versatile on defense and offense, combined with Danilo Gallinari's really ability to shoot the three and put the ball on the floor, I think it's a perfect fit there, man. It just gives them a nice, consistent score. Would be the third option on the team behind Jimmy and, of course, Bam Adebayo. It's a really good fit. I want to see it happen. It's one of those like low key like dark horse fits where it's like, wow, man, like that really worked out for them in the end. Next, we have Giannis, who is an unrestricted free agent in 2021. So really the idea of this is for the Bucks to somehow get Giannis to re-sign with the team this NBA offseason. And I don't know if it happens or not, man. Because we're not going to be able to see the end result of this current season we're in which the Bucks, one of the top teams in the NBA, was really on pace to win 70 games, man, which is just absolutely crazy to think about. Not because, well, it is crazy in the sense that, like, Giannis is a superstar and the rest of the team is obviously really, really good, but typically you got, like, 2 or 3 or 4 players playing at a damn superstar level for that to happen, right? So, yeah, I could see him just kind of being like, all right, let's see how next season goes, and then kind of deciding from right there. That's kind of my gut feeling about it. Next up, we got Malik Beasley, restricted free agent for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Bro, I can't talk, man. Minnesota Timberwolves. Yes, new basketball team, man. Made it up myself. So, yeah, with Malik Beasley, though, a guy that was being underutilized on the Denver Nuggets appears to have found a home with the Minnesota Timberwolves. A guy that I think plays nicely alongside D'Angelo Russell, gives you some good floor spacing. Yeah, I mean, we're not overpay this man, but he looks like he's going to be I don't want to say a top shooting guard, but a very respected shooting guard in the NBA. So, seems like the Minnesota Timberwolves got their guy. Now give him his contract. Damn, he's only 23? Wow, okay. That's, yeah, very nice. Pelicans, Brandon Ingram, yep, they're going to match him. Him and Zion for years are going to be one of the best dynamic duos in the entire NBA. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch, and I'm all in on it, man. I want to see Ingram stay with the Pelicans. I think the Pelicans deserve it after, the whole saga with Anthony Davis. And, just Ingram seems to have found himself a home with a fan base that really respects his talents, and he's turned to one of the best small forwards in the entire NBA. Next, we got the New York Knicks with Fred VanVleet. It's kind of the same scenario as the Pistons, where this team just needs a good leader at the point guard spot. I cannot, for the life of me, remember the last time the Knicks have had a good point guard. Like, obviously, if you want to talk about, like, the Linsanity stretch, sure, okay, that was, like, 2 weeks. But besides that, a lot of Frank Ntilikina, Alfred Payton, Raymond Felton. He was good for, like, a year. That was kind of interesting. I think Jason Kidd was there for a bit. Derek Fisher, I think, played, like, a little bit. I don't remember, man. That's the thing. I don't remember the point guards of the New York Knicks. They need a Fred VanVleet. They need a win in that category. Next, we got the OKC Thunder, Juancho Hernangomez. Yeah, what you get with Juancho is exactly just knowing what you're going to get. You get yourself, like, 9 points, a guy that's not going to try to do too much, can shoot the 3 ball, which is kind of what the OKC Thunder need at that 3 spot, because Terrence Ferguson is so inconsistent, where it's like, damn, bro, just give me Juancho Hernangomez so at least I know what I'm going to get night in and night out. For the Orlando Magic, we got DeMar DeRozan on a player option. Yeah, he's going to decline it with the Spurs, so obviously he's going to be looking for a team. I could see the Magic taking a chance on him. Now, if they do that, then that means you are probably getting rid of Aaron Gordon, because, you can't start DeMar at the 2 spot with Aaron Gordon and Jonathan Isaac. I mean, Jonathan Isaac's is a fine shooter. Aaron Gordon has really regressed as a player. But then you also got Markelle Fultz on the court, too, with DeMar DeRozan in the backcourt. That would just be a spacing nightmare. Which, in general, I just don't really like the fit. It's hard for me to really find a fit for DeMar DeRozan. And if I'm being quite honest about his circumstance, it might be a good opportunity to pull an Andre Iguodala. And just to go to a team where you can be an amazing 6-man off their bench. And you won't be putting up the all-star numbers anymore. But you'll be going to a team where it's just like, hey, if you want to win championships, you could have extreme value off the bench like that as a go-to scorer. I don't know if he's ready for that quite yet. That might be another contract away, but it's just so hard to find a fit for DeMar DeRozan. Next, we got the Philadelphia 76ers with DJ Augustine. I would much rather see the 76ers just kind of play things out with Shake Milton. I think Shake Milton has obviously a higher ceiling than DJ Augustine does at this point. DJ's getting a bit older. So, yeah, there's definitely some homes out there for DJ. I just don't think the 76ers make too much sense, long term. Next, we got the Phoenix Suns with Paul Millsap. Paul Millsap's getting old, man. I don't really know what Millsap does for the Phoenix Suns. I guess he gives you some defense, gives some 3-point shooting. I guess he's like a filler power forward until they find their guy, which who knows whenever that will be. So, yeah, as long as it's not a ridiculous contract, I guess getting a good veteran, a good grit and grind guy like that could help. Him and DeAndre Ayton would be a bit interesting. But, yeah, not a long-term solution either. Next up, we got the Portland Trail Blazers with Joe Harris. Yeah, the Portland Trail Blazers, their wing depth is kind of weak. They need some more offense, firepower off their bench. A big part of that has been because of injuries, but Joe Harris definitely fills a lot of those roles. Wing player, can be a bench player, gives you offense. Yeah, it'd be a good signing. Next, we got Bogdanovich back to the Kings. Yeah, at this point, they just need to get this man back on the squad. The reason is because they have kind of already killed their chemistry with Buddy Hield, making him a 6-man, choosing Bogdan over him, which, maybe they just think that's was just the right move for them. But it would suck that's like, hey, buddy, you're going to go on the bench now. Oh, Bogdan just went to a new team. We don't want to match a max contract for Bogdanovich. Yo, buddy, you want to start again? And Buddy's going to be like, yo, screw you guys. I mean, he's getting a 4-year, $86 million contract. So it's like, I don't really know if that's the right to say, like, screw you guys, but still. Next, we got Jakob Poeltl on the San Antonio Spurs, who is restricted. Sure, he's fine as a nice energy center. Going to play some defense, grab some rebounds, do some things on the inside. I don't really see the Spurs going for anybody too big this offseason. I think it's definitely going to be a rebuilding year. I think LaMarcus Aldridge ends up getting traded, and DeMar DeRozan goes somewhere else, and they just kind of, kind of like a season of see what you have, probably exceed expectations because that's what the Spurs do, and then just kind of reevaluate in the 2021 NBA offseason. Next up, we got Toronto Raptors Fred VanVleet. Yeah, we kind of talked about this already. He needs to go back to the team because he would be the future starting point guard, obviously, once Kyle Lowry retires, and continue to probably just start in the backcourt with Kyle Lowry in the meantime. Next, we got the Utah Jazz with Marcus Morris. Yeah, gives them another scoring threat. Him alongside Bojan Bogdanovic would be kind of cool. We can play with Rudy Gobert. It's a nice fit. All they need is Mike Conley declines $34 million player option. No way in hell is that going to happen, bro. No way in hell is that going to happen. I'm just going to point that out. And then finally, we have Davis Bertans. It's Davis, right? Davis Bertans of the Washington Wizards. Yeah, they seem to have found themselves a bit of a snipe right there with, I'm going to call him Bertans, with Bertans, man. And it's like, it seems that both these, not only the team, but also the player found a mutual fit. He works out nicely in their offense. Hopefully they get him on a pretty good price. But, yeah, it's worked out nicely for both sides. So why not keep him on a decent contract? Don't overpay for this, man, because, you know, you guys got some other issues out there defensively, right? But yeah, guys, that is the end of the video. Give me your thoughts and opinions on all this in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for watching, and peace out, my friends.